welcome to the channel. I'm Gary and thanks for joining me today for this look at Romeo and Juliet by Mark Knopfler, originally recorded when he was with Straits, but it's still a big part of his live set nowadays. Originally recorded on a resonator a bit like this one, but it works just as well with an acoustic guitar. I'm going to show you the whole song. I've noticed some tutorials online just show you the introduction, which is beautiful in itself, but then stop short of showing you the whole chords for the song, the verses and the chorus, or you have to pay and subscribe and that kind of thing. So stay with me, we're going to work through the whole song together. Now this channel is still fairly new, so if you're liking it, please subscribe. I'm trying to grow it. Give me a like in YouTube, tell your friends. I've got tons more content planned for resonators, acoustics and electric guitars. So anyway, we'll get in up close for this one and we'll work through the whole song together. Okay, there we are. So we're nice and up close now. Hopefully you can see everything. Try to get it as clear as possible. It's really hard filming this guitar. You get such a lot of glare with the shiny, the chrome, the nickel body on the guitar, but hopefully you can see everything. Now, some people play this song in standard tuning, and if you're a jobbing guitarist doing gigs and so on, and you're playing, you know, this as part of a much bigger set, then that's the practical thing to do. But it doesn't sound completely right, and that's because the original song was recorded in an open G tuning. So you're going to need to retune your guitar for this. So the first string, the E, that goes down to a D. The B, G and D stay the same, and then the fifth string A goes down to a G, and then the sixth string goes down from an E to a D. And then what you need to do is put a capo on at the third fret. Now what I would also recommend is, having put your capo on, just check your tuning again. Don't just go off the open string tuning, because what can happen, especially on a resonator where you've not got precise saddles like you have on an electric guitar to adjust the intonation for every string, and where the action's a little bit higher too in many cases, then when you put the capo on, it can just make the tuning go slightly out. So just retune recheck the tuning once you've got your capo on. So having retuned to open G and then put the capo on the third fret, we have an F on the sixth string, we have a B flat, another F, another B flat, that's a D, and then an F. So it should sound like that. Okay, so first of all, what we're going to do is look at the chords in the song. There are 3 chords in the introduction part and another 2 chords that feature in the verse. So 5 chords in all, that's all there is in the song, 5 chords, but because we're in an open G tuning and we've capoed up, then the shape of the chords is different. So what I'm going to do first is just run through the chord shapes, and then having got that, we'll look at the fingering, the right hand part, and because it's a finger style piece, there's no plectrums here, it's all done using our fingers. So the first chord we're going to look at is an F chord, and what I'm doing here, I'm barring across at the second fret, so this is in relation to the capo, it's the 5th fret of the guitar, and I'm barring across 1 to 5 there, and then I'm playing, it's like a sort of B minor 7 shape really. I'm holding down the 2nd string at the 3rd fret from the capo, and the 4th string there at the 4th fret, and then I'm putting my pinky down at the 4th fret also. So the chord sounds like this, and I'm just strumming it from the 5th string. Now there are parts in the song where we strum it from the open, well it's an E, it's now down to a D. But for this part we're just going to strum. So that's our F chord. The next one is C, and that's simple. All I'm doing is barring strings 1 to 5 at the 2nd fret from the capo and strumming it again from our A string now down to a G. And then we have the B flat, which is just again strumming from the 5th string, just the open strings. Okay. We also have in the verse, as well as those chords, we have a D minor chord. Now, if you're playing a D minor normally, you might bar it and have this sort of shape. It's a bit like an A minor, but you're sort of barring across. But because we've retuned, what we've got to do is we're still holding these notes here, but I've got to also hold down the A string to take that back up to an A, because we've tuned it down. So it's a bit of a handful really, because for me anyway, my hands are quite big. I've got to bunch together. So I'm holding down the 2nd string at the 3rd fret from the capo, and then strings 3, 4 and 5 all at the 4th fret from the capo, and trying to just pinch all my fingers in there to get the note. And it sounds like this. Strumming it from the 5th string. Okay, so then our last chord, and this just features quite infrequently really in the song. It's a G minor chord, and to do that I'm holding down the 1st string at the 2nd fret. We've got an open 2nd string and 3rd string, and then I'm holding down the 4th string at the 2nd fret and just strumming it from the open A, which is now down to a G. If you want to, you can actually add more bass into that and bring the 6th string into it, so you can play, sort of bring all your fingers across, because obviously our 2 E strings are now the same note. So if you want to do that, then you can sort of hold a 3, but I would suggest it's more practical if you're playing it live just to play it from the A string there, or you could bring your thumb into it, you could play it like that. So those are the chords. Okay, so let's have a look at the introduction then. So we're using 3 of those chords in the introduction. We've got our F, the C, and then the B flat. And you can hear the song there actually in those chords. And those are the only 3 chords in the introduction. So what we're going to do is hold the F first of all, and then we're going to play, just pinching really, the 1st and 6th strings. So the 1st string is part of the chord, but I've got an open 6th string. And then I'm strumming, so that's the 4th, 3rd, 2nd and 1st. You can also, if you wish, to fill the sound out, repeat the bass note. You know, play it twice. I think Mark sort of alternates how he plays this, and it varies, you know, a little bit each time. Okay, and then what you want to do is just coming down with your finger on the 3rd string, and then the 5th string. It sounds a bit odd, but that is right when it's speeded up. And then little brush really with the back of your nails. And then we go down to the C chord. So there I'm pinching the 1st and 5th string to start it. And then playing the same strings that I did before. 3, 2, 1. And then down to the open B flat chord. Again, I'm just pinching the 1st and 5th strings there. And then just plucking individually 4, 3, 2 and 1. All open. So what we've got there at the moment is and then again, like we did with the F chord, we just play the G and the A string on our way back down. And a little brush. So there's a lot of feel to this. If you're playing it just as a solo performer, then you probably need to try and beef up the chords and the sound, because it is quite a thin sound. Mark's playing it, you know, obviously with a band, bass and keyboards and another acoustic guitar and all sorts of other things going on, so it fills it out and you can sort of afford to sit back now and again. But if you just play it on your own, you need to try and keep it going. Okay, and then what we do is just on that C chord, so there's just a little, I'm just using my 2nd finger on the 2nd string, 3rd fret from the capo, and squeezing the 5th string, and then playing the 1st string there as part of the C chord. Just repeat that. Now this time we're going to pluck all the strings from this open 6th string. It's quite difficult to do that and keep time. I tend to do it with my thumb actually for all the string until I get to the 1st string, so the first 4 or 5 strings. It just suits me to do it that way, but I think it depends on, you know, the size of your hands, the way how your hands sit on the guitar, so it's probably a very personal thing. I think Mark plays it that way, but I know many people assign individual fingers to each string. It's not for me to do it like that, so experiment with that, you know, with the fingering, do what's best for you. And then we just pull that F chord off and leaving the C, and play the first 2 strings, and then to our B flat. Now you can do the, or sometimes you can just do a little sort of punctuated tap across the strings like that. And then back into the next one. Like that. So I'll just play through what we've done so far. I'll play it slowly. Okay, so there's a couple of bars of that, and then the band comes in, and it just goes round with a slight variation. Mark then includes sort of pull off from the 4th to the 2nd fret on the 1st string. Like that, but just beforehand I've just realised I don't even know I do it sometimes, but you play a few open strings, so it's very hard to explain this because there's so much feel to this. Really, you can't describe every single little strum, but just really something to keep it going. And then back in again. That takes us into the first verse. Okay, so having worked through the introduction, we'll now look at the verse chords. This is easier in a way because there's less of the fingerstyle part going on. You can just strum some of these a little bit and brush a little bit, just try and get that feel that Mark gets. We're starting the verse with an F. I'll sort of just try and sing along the lyrics as we go, just so you know where we're up to. So it's love struck Romeo. So I'm just sort of brushing our F chord there. I'm plucking it from the 6th string. Love struck Romeo. And just love struck Romeo. Just try and keep some of the feel of it going. Love struck Romeo. That's our C chord. Playing it from the 5th string. And then we go up to our D minor, which I showed you before, which is holding down the 2nd string at the 3rd fret, and then the 3rd, 4th and 5th strings at the 4th fret, all from the capo. Sings in streets with a serenade, love struck Romeo. C, and then up to our D minor. Sings in street with a serenade. Back to a C, and then the F. Laying everybody low. C, and then D minor again. He's got a love song that he made, to the open B flat. So that's love struck Romeo. Sings in street with a serenade. Laying everybody low. He's got a love song that he made. And then what Mark does, just slides up on the 3rd string from the 2nd fret to the 4th, and then hits an open 1st string. Love struck Romeo. Sings in street with a serenade. Laying everybody low. He's got a love song that he made. To see, he finds a street light. Off and on again. Finds a street light. Steps out of the shade. Now what you need to do here, it's a little bit like the part in the introduction, but it's quite important, and a lot of people miss this because it punctuates the verse. So we're just plucking, raking up like we did before on the F chord, just as far as the 3rd string, and then we're playing an open 2nd and 5th string together. Says you and me, babe. So it's love struck Romeo. Sings a treat with a serenade. Laying everybody low. Got a love song that he made. He finds a street light, steps out of the shade. There's you and me, babe. How about it? Back to the C there, and then just on the 2nd fret, 2nd and 3rd strings. which takes us back into the second verse. Juliet says, "Hey, it's Romeo. He nearly gave me a heart attack. He's underneath the window. She's saying, hey now, my boyfriend's back. You shouldn't come around here singing up at people like that. Anyway, what you gonna do about it?" So those are the verse chords, and just to recap on those, if you're playing on your own, try and just keep the sound full and do a combination of picking some of the bass string and just strumming, and just try and recreate some of the feel of the song. So we'll look at the chorus next. So I'll just breeze through some of these chorus chords now. I'll sing along so you can see where I'm up to, and then we'll have a closer look at them. Juliet, the dice was loaded from the start, and I bet that you exploded in my heart. I forget, the movie song. When you gonna realize it was just that the time was wrong, Juliet. So we start with our F. Juliet. You can see I'm just pinching the strings like we did in the introduction, and then just accenting a few of the individual strings. Juliet. The dice was loaded from the start. So I'm not going to go through all of these chords again. We've looked at them in the introduction, but it's F down to our C. The dice was loaded, D minor, C, B flat. Juliet. The dice was loaded from the start, and I bet that you exploded in my heart. I forget, the movie song. And then we slide up on the third string from second to fourth fret and hit an open first and second. And then this is the one time that the G minor chord appears. So just to remind you, that's the first string second fret and the fourth string second fret with an open fifth string. When you gonna realize it was just the time? So open again. It was just that the time was wrong, Juliet. Okay, and that's the chorus. So just a note on that chorus. As I say, when Mark's playing this, he's with a band, and I think he probably, holds back, and less is more really. But if you're playing it on your own, especially with a resonator, which is quite, it's a thinner sound. It's quite loud, but it's a thinner sound, and I think it's when I play it on my own, I probably put more guitar content in than would appear when Mark plays it with the full band, just because you've got to fill the sound out. So in that chorus, I'm Juliet, when we made love, you used to cry. You said I love you like the stars above. Love you till I die. There's a place for us. So hopefully you get the picture there. It's you've just got to keep the accompaniment going when it's just when you're playing it as a solo artist. Okay, so I think there's 3 verses altogether with choruses in between. So just run through it yourself, listen to the record as well as this lesson, and get familiar with the layout of the song. when this is performed live, and I think also on this studio album, there's a sort of guitar solo which Mark plays on an electric guitar in standard tuning towards the end, and the accompaniment for that played on the resonator. It's just our open chord. So we've looked at that. I'm just sliding up on the third string, 2 to 4, and then open first and second strings. To our C. Thing going on behind it, just the usual sort of brushing, some pinching of strings. Okay. A nice way for an outro, just to round it off, is to play something like this. Which is just pinching the 5th string, and I'm holding the 1st string at the 4th fret. But also just brushing the sort of D, G string. Second string, and 3rd string, and then our F chord. So that's Romeo and Juliet. Great piece. I hope you've enjoyed the lesson. If you have, then please give me a like in YouTube, and remember to subscribe, tell your friends, and in the meantime, enjoy your guitar playing, and I'll see you next time.